So I finally gave in and I have now downloaded TikTok on my phone. So if you don't know this, I have been religiously staying away from downloading that app ever since its inception. I know it's really bad for your attention span, so I have been just staying away from it. Twitter is bad enough. But 3 days ago, I gave in and downloaded TikTok. I did not expect this app to be this addictive. In my opinion, this app is more addictive than Twitter. Twitter is already so addictive, and TikTok is more addictive than that. I don't know how. So in my spare time for last 3 days, I have been just watching TikTok. That's all I have been doing. And I'm especially addicted to these informational type TikToks, like the ones that Luke Davidson, OnlyJS, and what's his name again? Icycol. I tried to find a video where he says his channel's name and I couldn't find it. So yeah, I'm just gonna be pronouncing it as Icycol. So yeah, I have been just watching those types of TikToks of just random facts being spewed at me. And in my opinion, most of these TikToks don't state facts. They aren't true. I mean, just look at that Icycol guy's YouTube channel. Just look at how many videos he has made in last 24 hours. He has made 5 videos in last 24 hours. There's no way someone has the time to check all of that, right? There is no way all of the facts stated in those videos are true. So I guess in this video, I just wanna look into some of them. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. The TikTok that we're going to be talking about in this video is by Icycol, and it's about how scientists apparently were able to create a human hybrid embryo. Here's the TikTok.
2021 just got even crazier. Okay, next, 2021 never disappoints us. Scientists just created a human monkey embryo. And right now, scientists are trying to make a hybrid between the monkey and human. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not too sure how I feel about this.
When I first watched that, I was like, wait, no. There's no way that's true. Nah, I don't believe it. That's not true. Right? It sounds insane. But then I actually looked into it. And yep, it's actually true. Scientists have actually created a human hybrid embryo. Scientists create early embryos that are part human, part monkey. A team of scientists from the US, China, and Spain reported Thursday they have created the first embryos that were part human and part monkey and kept them alive for up to 20 days in laboratory dishes. So yeah, that is true. For the first time, scientists were able to create part human, part monkey embryos. Now, to be clear, this study is actually in its very early stages. The team did not actually create a living, breathing, part human animal. They just created very early embryos and never even implanted them into the uterus of any animal. The scientists took advantage of a new technique that allowed them to grow monkey embryos outside the womb for up to 20 days, a stage where the embryo was still largely undeveloped but had formed layers and cavities. Survival of embryos declined during the experiment. After 10 days, 103 embryos were still developing, and by day 19, just 3 of the chimeric, embryos remained alive. After 20 days, monkey embryos grown outside the womb, even those that are not chimeric, simply collapse. The scientists say that this study could be useful to create a way to produce organs from non-human animals for people who need transplants. One major goal, they say, is to find a way to grow human organs in pigs or other animals to ease shortage for transplants. Currently, more than 100,000 Americans are awaiting organs for transplant, but some scientists question the research has proven so far. So yeah, all of this is really fascinating. However, this is actually not the first time that scientists were able to create human hybrid embryos. Previously, I believe in 2017, scientists were able to create part human, part pig, and part human, part sheep embryos as well. But the problem was that those experiments were not successful, and this one was successful. The main reason that those experiments were not successful was because sheep and pigs are not very closely related to humans, evolutionarily and genetically speaking. So, in the embryo, the pig cells and the sheep cells would choose to kill off the human cells rather than cooperate with each other in creating the embryo. But in human and monkey embryos, that was not the case. It was those disappointing results that pushed the researchers to turn to monkeys, which are much more closely related to humans and have similar developmental timeline, said the project leader, Salk Institute developmental biologist Juan Carlos Espesua Belmonte. Human cells do not robustly contribute to chimera formation in species evolutionarily distant to humans, he said. In monkeys, it was a different story. We found the human and monkey cells cooperate with each other in building the embryo, said Hyun Woo, a research team member who is now an assistant professor at UT's Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, but was a staff scientist at the Salk when he worked on the project. Woo's research has shown that when human cells are placed in culture with mouse cells, we see the mouse cell actively kill the human cells, but when we place human and monkey cells together, there is no competition. The researchers and other scientists that contacted for comment said one of the most exciting things about the new paper was the discovery of crosstalk between human and monkey cells in developing embryo, something that did not occur so readily in human-pig chimeras. Human cells in pig tissues is akin to communication between two distant languages, such as Chinese and French, whereas human cells in macaques is like communication between two closely related languages like Spanish and French, said Espusa Belmonte. We do think understanding interspecific crosstalk could be the key for generating more successful chimeras. So yeah, scientists were able to create part human, part animal chimeras for the first time and were actually successful at it. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this sort of research, but it does make me feel uneasy personally. I don't know how I feel about these sorts of research, and actually, most of the articles that I read about this experiment while I was researching this video talked about the need for public involvement about the ethics regarding these sorts of experiments. Now, to be clear, this particular experiment was in its very early stages, and they did not actually create a part human, part animal. They just created very early embryos, so there wasn't like a chance that this experiment could lead to a human hybrid animal, but it is a step in that direction. This experiment carried none of those risks, but makes it clear that the time to start discussing the ethics of human-animal chimeras is now. It's a first-in-kind experiment. Nita Farahany, a professor of law and philosophy at the Duke University School of Law, who co-authored a perspective piece on the ethics of the research, told Stat, whenever you cross a major technological or biological hurdle like this one, it's a good moment to stop and reflect. Now, like I've said, this research is not useless. It could be potentially used to create organs for people who need transplants. That's a good thing. And that isn't the only use of these sorts of studies. It could also be used to create better models of human disease. And also they could be used in biomedicine as well. But at the same time, we do need to discuss the ethics behind it. The complicated thing is that we need better models of human disease. But the better those models are, the closer they bring us to the ethical issues we are trying to avoid by not doing experiments in humans, Faraday said. Remarkable steps forward require urgent public engagement. Knopfler said the research posed a host of other questions as well. Is there a point at which a chimera is too human? For instance, what if a monkey-human chimera ended up being more human than monkey? Should special rules apply? He asked. What if there are many human cells in a developing brain of a chimera? But this type of scientific work and the possibilities it opens up raises serious questions for the ethicists. The biggest concern, they said, is that someone could try to take this work further and attempt to make a baby out of an embryo made this way. Specifically, the critics worried that human cells could become part of developing brain of such an embryo and of the brain of the resulting animal. Should it be regulated as human because it has a significant portion of human cells in it, or should it be regulated just like an animal or something else? Rice University's Matthews said, "At what point are you taking something and using it for its organs when it's actually starting to think and have logic?" Also, another thing is that what if the animals that are produced in this way have human sperms or human eggs? The first concern that is in my mind is whether these sorts of experiments are even okay in the first place. And currently there are steps taken to loosen internationally recognized ethical limits that stop scientists from growing any human embryo outside the body for longer than a few days. I don't know. I don't know whether these sorts of experiments are okay. I think that they should be okay, at least to some extent. If that research ends up helping people, then I don't think there is a problem in it. And I highly doubt knowledge from these sorts of experiments would ever be useless. But also, I'm curious, what if a chimera was created? When would it deserve rights like humans do? Like, for instance, I don't think it's ever going to be possible to create human organs inside animals without substantial changes to the animal itself to make it more human-like. So what if the brain of the animal is human, or human-like? Maybe it has the mental capacity of a 15-year-old human. That's not nothing. Or what if it has the body of a human but it has the brain of a monkey? Would it deserve human rights then? And also, would it even be okay to harvest organs from animals who can think and have the capacity to logically reason like humans? I don't know. I have no clue. I think for most people it'll depend on whether it looks like a human and or whether it has the capacity of a human being. If it has any of those two things, then I think people will say that yes, it deserves rights, and no, you can't just harvest organs from an animal that can logically reason. But at the same time, I do know that humans are very hypocritical when it comes to the ethics regarding non-human animals. So regardless of what position you land on, it's going to be inconsistent regardless. But still, I think for most people it'll depend on whether the animal looks like a human and or can think like a human. What do you guys think? I am very curious about what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. When do you guys think that human chimeras deserve human rights and you can't just harvest organs from them? Like I've said, this particular study is far from creating a human chimera, and they have said that they have no intention of creating a monster like human chimeras at all. But also, most of the articles talk about the need for public involvement about ethics. So I'm curious about what you guys think. When do these sorts of human chimera animals deserve rights like a human? And are you even okay with these sorts of experiments? I completely understand if you guys are not at all comfortable with these sorts of experiments. Like, these sorts of experiments have a very, very dark history. When I was researching for this particular video, I stumbled across a Russian scientist who wanted to create a human chimp hybrid, and he wanted to artificially inseminate human women with chimp sperm so that they would give birth to human chimp hybrids. But the thing is that he realized that most women are not going to be okay with that, and most governments are not going to be okay with that. So he was okay with not telling the women in the experiment that he was going to artificially inseminate them with chimp sperm so that they would give birth to a human chimp hybrid. He was willing to go as far as that. And the only reason that he didn't was because the French government was like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And he actually ended up getting volunteers for it. And unfortunately and fortunately, the chimps actually died and he ended up being dead as well. So he didn't end up doing the experiment. So yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that this sort of experiment do have a very dark history. So I do understand if you're not at all comfortable with this at all. But I am curious about what your guys' opinions are. So yeah, let me know that in the comment section down below. Subscribe for more videos. Let me know if you guys want me to do more of these sorts of videos. And I'll do them. There are a lot of TikToks about very interesting stuff that I want to look into. Like this video if you liked it. But yeah, that is all from me today. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.